But are we looking at the value of the money, or we're looking at just the amount of the money?
Look, amount and value. I am not an economist, but in the 70s, when I go to America on a first-class ticket to Chicago, 1,400 pounds, which is equivalent the naira and the dollar. And the naira was even stronger than the dollar and was almost at par with the pound. But today, look at the difference. Whereas the difference now is maybe 500 pounds in the British system, American. But now to get a business class ticket to London, now you pay 700,000 naira. So you are
not even a first class anymore.
No. Most of them have forgotten the first class. Very few airlines now have first class. It's either you have upper deck with Virgin Airlines, or you have the normal business class. And except those who have their, this thing being paid for, I won't advise anybody to go first class. The business class is okay for people like us. But what I'm trying to say is that values have changed, as you said, and the cost of things, but only in Nigeria. In England, in Europe, in America, the difference of growth in monetary, this thing, in interest rate, are being monitored. There is no sharp rise like, we had. And the whole thing started in the 90s, during Abacha regime, when all of a sudden, everything just went up. The naira, but to be honest with Abacha, he was able to peg the naira to the dollar at $80 throughout his period. But today it's 280 something to the pound. So when you are talking about availability of money or the cost or the thing, it's all the same thing. What was available to Gawan before he did all this mercuric infrastructure in Lagos and all over Nigeria? What was available to Shagari to have been able to develop Ajaokuta mills, to be able to have developed Alaja mills, to be able to have developed many things then?
What I remember, though, sorry, Chamberlain, what I do remember was that sometime last year we also had an economist who, well, no, not an economist, a data researcher who had done some work in terms of Nigeria's population and its income as at that time, and what our population and income is as of now. And he says the money available to each Nigerian, if we're to look at, say, per capita income, has kind of gone down, has reduced because of our increasing population. It's like a man who has more children and another man who has fewer children with the same amount of money. The money available to each child will definitely be different. Are we also taking into cognizance the population explosion and also the fact that, there have been years of mismanagement, yes, but it will take many more years for us to repair what has been spoiled?
You see, the problem is that it won't take you years. The problem is mismanagement of the economy. Because when you see what comes out of the oil and other sources of money to Nigeria, and you relate it to what is being used for you and I to survive as decent human beings, that is what you call mismanagement. Because 80% of what enters genuinely into the revenue account in Nigeria goes in maintaining the governance structure. And when you spend so much money to maintain a system of governance in a country, where is the money to make you and I happy? Where is the money to pump into developmental projects? So until we look at our structure and see that we are pushing money into areas that do not deserve this money, that is when Nigeria will start, being enjoyed by you and I.
I was even going to highlight that, the system of government that we had at the time and now that we have a democracy, it's supposed to be all-inclusive, a lot more people involved in it. But the federating units, the states, how do they come in here?
You see, Nigeria is not a federation in the true sense of it. A federation in ordinary parlance means sovereign states who have agreed to come together to form a federation. Nigeria was never a federation created by independent states who decided to come. The federal system of governance in Nigeria was created by the whims and caprice of political leaders, especially the military leaders. Why should a military man, head of state, come up and say, oh, from 21 states, I'm creating 36 states, without thinking of the system, the expenses that will be incurred in maintaining all these states. Today you have 36 governors who have, access to funds, they call it security funds, which you and I don't know about. How they spend it, we don't know. You have 36 attorney generals. You have 36 chief judges. You have, we cannot maintain such a system. You have to pay their salaries. They have special assistants.
I don't know. I
I was wondering, how come those who are still agitating for more states don't seem to see some of these things? Look at the national conference. A long list of those who are saying, no, we want states too.
Let me use the word. I'm not saying they are mad. I'm not saying that. But I don't know if you continue to ask for states, that there is not one single state that can be fully, how can I say, free of ethnic chauvinism. There is not one single state. Take Ogun State, which is a Yoruba state. The Remo man will tell you, I'm not an Ijebu man. Remo is Ijebu. It's follow more. Look, Remo people are no longer, we are not Ijebus. That is within Ogun State. The Ilaro man will tell you that the Egba man is his enemy because he has stolen all his land. So there is no single ethnic entity in Nigeria where you will not have this division still coming in. When the Oyibos came here, they created provincial councils, 26 provinces, and brought in Oyibos, one resident to monitor one province. The whole of Ondo State today was one province. The whole of Bauchi, the whole of Gombe State, Taraba State it was then called Bauchi Yola Adamawa province. You have created 4 states out of one province. And things were working then. Now you have brought in politicians with all the negative attributes to them to now have the greatest political power after God in a state. The governor is next.